Queer News in Journalism is a Gay 45 original podcast published every week on Thursdays, where we come together to comment the topics in the weekly queer news published by our newsletter, The Nine. Subscribe on gay45.com to get the latest news every week. Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're taking a journey through a fascinating and complex landscape of global queer events, legal battles, cultural shifts, and moments of both challenge and triumph. We're pulling insights directly from the latest Gay 45.
Right, and what's fascinating here is how these seemingly disparate events, the ones highlighted in the Gay 45, they really connect to broader themes. We're talking human rights, freedom of expression, the evolving nature of activism, and just the sheer power of visibility. It raises an important question. How do these individual stories reflect the larger global picture for queer communities right now? Exactly. And that's what we want to explore for you. So we're going to start by looking at how queer rights are being challenged and, in some cases, defended in the political and legal arenas as detailed in the Gay 45. Here's where it gets really interesting. The Gay 45 reports that Budapest Mayor György Karácsony was summoned by police after co-organizing a banned pride march on June 28th. Despite government efforts under a controversial law restricting LGBTQ plus expression, over 200,000 people participated.
200,000, that's huge.
Astonishing, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this isn't an isolated incident. The Gay 45 notes Prime Minister Viktor Orban condemned Pride as a disgrace, and Hungary's parliament formalized a ban citing that 2021 gay propaganda law. This really reflects Orban's broader anti-queer agenda, including bans on legal gender recognition and same-sex adoption. So what's fascinating here is the sheer scale of the protest and, well, the mayor's defiance.
And Karácsony, he's a Green Party politician, right?
Right.
He bravely stated, "If this is the price for standing up for freedom, I am proud." He could face up to a year in prison. The Gay 45 also mentions increased surveillance, even facial recognition, during the march. What a powerful statement from the mayor.
A very powerful statement. Definitely high stakes.
Speaking of challenges, legal challenges, the Gay 45 brings us two compelling stories from the United States. First, the disturbing account of Wilmer Chavarria.
Yes, this one caused quite a bit of outrage. Wilmer Chavarria, a gay school superintendent from Vermont, he's a naturalized U.S. citizen too. He was detained and interrogated for over 5 hours by CBP officers at Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport. This was upon returning from Nicaragua with his husband. They questioned his citizenship, his marriage, his job, and they seized his phone and laptop. Then his global entry status was revoked without explanation. It just raises this important question. How can such incidents occur with a Harvard graduate and U.S. citizen, and what does it say about border policies?
It's deeply concerning. Vermont lawmakers and his school board condemned it as inhumane and unjust. Congressman Becca Balint called it a violation of constitutional rights. It really makes you wonder about the balance between security and individual liberties, like the Gay 45 rightly points out.
Absolutely, a fine line.
Then, on a completely different note, the Gay 45 reports that French President Emmanuel Macron and First Lady Brigitte Macron have filed a defamation lawsuit in Delaware against American right-wing commentator Candace Owens.
Right, and what's fascinating here is the core of the lawsuit. Owens' false allegations that Brigitte Macron is a transgender woman and that President Macron is involved in some kind of CIA mind control experiment.
Wild allegations.
Totally. And filing it in a U.S. jurisdiction, that underscores the cross-border implications of viral misinformation and its potential diplomatic repercussions. It highlights how far the stuff can travel and, well, the length that people will go to combat it.
It's quite something, but it's not all challenges. The Gay 45 also shares some truly landmark news from Cuba, a positive contrast.
Yes, a very positive development. Cuba has passed a landmark law allowing individuals to self-declare their gender without surgery. This modernizes their civil registry, allows digital documentation, and legal recognition of common law partnerships. It's huge. This is Cuba's most significant LGBTQ plus legal development since 2022's Progressive Family Code, which legalized same-sex marriage and adoption rights. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, it shows a continued significant push for social justice in Cuba. Real momentum.
And the official reception sounds positive, too. Justice Minister Oscar Silveira Martinez emphasized creating a modern civil registry with full validity and efficiency. And President Miguel Diaz-Canel praised accompanying legislation for young people. It's a remarkable progression, especially in a global context where progress can be so uneven.
Definitely a step forward worth noting.
Okay, let's shift gears now and look at how queer identity is being represented, celebrated, and sometimes debated in popular culture and industry. More insights here from the Gay 45. We start in Germany. The Gay 45 reports on a queer protest in Berlin that took a difficult turn. Police forcibly shut down an internationalist queer pride for liberation during Christopher Street Day celebrations. They detained 57 people and filed 54 criminal complaints.
Yeah, this one immediately raises an important question about the line between protest and policing, doesn't it? Authorities cited alleged anti-Semitic chants and assaults, claiming 17 officers were injured. But then, video footage online appears to show officers using force, and organizers accused police of escalating tensions. Human rights groups, including the Council of Europe, have criticized Berlin's protest policing, urging authorities to uphold freedom of assembly. What's fascinating here is that tension. Maintaining order versus protecting the right to protest, especially within an established pride event.
It's complex, and it happened right during CSD celebrations. From the streets to our phones, the Gay 45 brings us a story about Grindr and content moderation.
Oh, yes, Grindr. They reversed a short-lived policy banning no Zionists from profiles after a pretty big backlash. The company cited a review of moderation policies. But what's fascinating here is the inconsistency, right? While they reversed this ban, critics noted the platform still allows discriminatory preferences like no blacks or no FFA, that's fats, femmes, Asians.
Despite their terms banning offensive content.
Exactly. So it raises this important question about equitable content moderation across platforms. Who gets to define what's inflammatory or discriminatory, and how consistently is it applied?
A really tricky balancing act for these platforms. Next, the Gay 45 is an intriguing piece about Lego and how they're navigating the culture wars.
Yeah, Lego. They've quietly removed references to LGBT+ and diversity from their annual report and website. Searches for rainbow or LGBT now yield no results. That caused some concern.
A noticeable shift.
But then, they also launched a new tribute to openly gay artist and AIDS activist Keith Haring with a new Lego art set.
Oh, interesting. So, kind of mixed signals.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this move raises questions about Lego's strategy amidst these mounting culture wars, especially in the US, their largest market. Are they retreating from vocal support, or are they finding a more subtle way to celebrate queer legacy? It's a nuanced approach for sure.
Definitely something to watch. Now for some truly uplifting news from the Gay 45 on how queer art and history are gaining deserved recognition. First off, the New York Times, working with 500 industry pros, named the top 100 films of the 21st century. And guess what? 5 critically acclaimed LGBT+ titles made the list. Moonlight at 5th place, Brokeback Mountain at 17, Call Me By Your Name at 37, Portrait of a Lady on Fire at 38, and Carol at 72. That's incredible representation.
It really is. And what's fascinating here is that these films center queer narratives and experiences. It marks a significant cultural recognition of LGBT+ storytelling in global cinema. It reflects evolving industry attitudes and a growing appreciation for diverse voices in film, just as the Gay 45 highlights. It shows how art can truly shape public perception.
Absolutely. And more art news. The Gay 45 tells us that Spain's Reina Sofía Museum is honoring the forgotten legacy of Néstor Martín Fernández de la Torre. He was a pioneering queer artist from the Canary Islands. They've put together a landmark retrospective of nearly 200 works.
Wow. This exhibition, Néstor Encontrado, highlights his exploration of homoeroticism, androgyny, and symbolism that defied early 20th century Spanish conventions. He died back in 1938, and his art was kind of rebranded by Franco's regime. This show seeks to restore his place in Spanish art history, celebrating his queer, esoteric, and mythological depth. If we connect this to the bigger picture, reclaiming forgotten queer histories is just so vital. It helps us understand our past and inform our future.
Bringing hidden histories to light. Love that. And continuing on the theme of history, the Gay 45 shares truly groundbreaking news from Bosnia and Herzegovina. They've published their first comprehensive account of queer life, a history of queer life in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
This is huge. A landmark book documenting centuries of LGBTQ+ presence, resistance, identity, from medieval times through various empires to post-war periods. It draws on core archives, folk tales, oral testimonies. It's a pioneering contribution to regional and European queer historiography. What's fascinating here is that blend of scholarship and activism. Historians are calling it a milestone in the broader European history of sexuality and gender. It demonstrates the universal, long-standing presence of queer life, often hidden from view.
Amazing work. But sometimes, cultural representation faces unexpected hurdles. The Gay 45 reports that the Irish Museum of Modern Art, IMI, faced accusations of censorship. They temporarily suspended a screening of Derek Jarman's 1985 film The Angelic Conversation due to a complaint about a same-sex kiss.
Right. The museum stated the decision was made out of an abundance of caution after a parent objected to topless adults kissing near their young child. They deny censorship and will resume screenings, reaffirming commitment to LGBTQ plus inclusion. But it raises an important question, doesn't it? How art is presented in public spaces, especially when it comes to explicit content and different interpretations of what's appropriate for all audiences. It highlights the ongoing need for dialogue and clear communication.
Yeah, those conversations are clearly still necessary. Okay, amidst all these developments, it's important to celebrate moments of joy and also to reflect on our own community. The Gay 45 has some great insights here. First up, a huge cheer for England's Lionesses. The Gay 45 proudly highlights that this LGBTQ+-led team made history in Basel. They became the first England team to win a major trophy on foreign soil, retaining their European title with a dramatic 3-1 penalty shootout win over Spain.
Yes. What's fascinating here is the visibility. The squad includes many openly LGBTQ plus players, led by bisexual captain Leah Williamson. Chloe Kelly, Lauren Hemp, Beth Mead, Lucy Bronze, all queer players were central to the celebrations. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's just such a powerful statement of queer achievement and visibility on a global stage. It shows how LGBTQ plus individuals contribute at the highest levels of sport. Inspiring stuff.
Absolutely thrilling. Now, finally, the Gay 45 offers a peek into an internal community discussion. Mr. Gay Europe has cut ties with his 2025 final producer over a transparency dispute.
Interesting. The board cited concerns over transparency, unauthorized changes like reinstating a swimwear section against organizational values, and hostile communication. This raises an important question, I think. How do long-standing institutions like pageants maintain their relevance and integrity in modern LGBT plus activism? The Gay 45 notes Mr. Gay Europe's commitment to volunteerism and participant protection, reminding us of the founding principles even as the broader community debates their contemporary role. A moment of self-reflection, for sure.
Definitely. Okay, as Gay 45 reminds us, vacation is coming, and there's always something nice to read, watch, or listen to in their archives. So this is a personal curated selection just for you. First, some must-reads. An excellent review of the film I Saw the TV Glow. Sounds intriguing. Also, a list of amazing songs for nights on the beach, enchanted melodies of love, perfect for summer evenings. And if you like true crime, there's a nice read, The Murder of Brent Sycamore, a story of art, money, and betrayal. Gripping stuff.
And the Gay 45 brings us a powerful quote of the week from Lee Edelman. Queer is the primary name given to the disruptive power of the real. It really encourages critical thinking about the very nature of queer identity and its inherent challenge to norms. Something to chew on.
Deep. Okay, for our film of the week, the Gay 45 recommends Mo. This show tackles tough topics like the immigration experience in the U.S. following a Palestinian refugee try and claim citizenship while navigating two cultures. Apparently, in Series 2, he's trapped in Mexico, selling tacos and wrestling. The Gay 45 praises its fresh blend of food, identity, immigration, family, and Middle Eastern politics, calling it as intriguing as falafel tacos. Sounds delicious and thought-provoking.
For the book of the week, the Gay 45 picks Adam Hazlitt's Imagine Me Gone, a Pulitzer Prize finalist. This is a searing and compassionate exploration of mental illness and inherited trauma across generations. It focuses on Michael, plagued by psychological torment. What's fascinating here is how it dissects familial love and obligation through shifting perspectives. It doesn't offer easy answers, apparently, only grace in the struggle. Sounds powerful.
Wow, yeah. And for Music of the Week, the Gay 45 recommends Ethel Cain's sophomore release, Perverts. They describe it as a departure from her first album, a long, often difficult journey, pushing listeners into shocking and unfamiliar territory. It's a challenging and experimental album, exploring themes of discomfort and perversion, blending ethereal beauty with harsh, dissonant elements. Definitely not for everybody, but a deep dive for your ears. And finally, some conversation starters from a Gay 45. For travel, consider spending 36 hours in Key West, Florida, one of the most gay-friendly cities in the U.S. Sounds nice. And for a thought-provoking idea, is joy span the key to aging well? Basically, a long life doesn't matter much if you don't enjoy it. Makes sense. And of course, for some fun, you can always play the Spelling Bee mini crossword and Wordle all New York Times puzzles. Keep the brain sharp.
So this deep dive through the Gay 45 has shown us a world in constant motion, from legal battles and political pushback to artistic reclamation and quiet corporate shifts. It really raises an important question for you listening. How do these seemingly separate stories reflect the enduring resilience and ever-evolving nature of queer identity and activism in the face of ongoing global challenges and triumphs?
This is the final weekly news before the holiday. You and we deserve a month's break from the noise of the world. We'll be back in September. If anything radical happens, we'll send you breaking news APY holiday. You can also listen to any of our articles. Visit gay45.com to read more quality journalism.